Hey guys, follow along in this tutorial and learn how to create interactive recipe cards with pop-out videos using Adobe InDesign. In this lesson, I'll go over how to set up scrolling frames, add animation to videos, as well as set up button structures to open and close a video player. So let's jump right into this lesson and start creating. Alright, let's start by creating the new document. I'm going to click on New File. That'll bring up my new document window. Once again, I'm going to click on the Web tab up top, and I'm going to choose A4 again. Now, if you're creating something like this for web, then you might want to choose 1920 by 1080 for a wider display or a wider screen size. But because we're going to be making this more like a recipe card, I'm going to keep my selection on A4. Now I do want the orientation to be landscape because we're gonna be creating a wider layout, and the pages will be 3. I'm gonna make my way down to the margins, and the margins will be 42 all the way around. I'm gonna click on my preview tab there, and you can see the page in real time. Once you're satisfied, go ahead and click Create. I'm going to make my way to the CC libraries where I have all the assets for this tutorial. We're going to start by adding the images. There are 3 of them, 1 for each page. So I'm going to click on Ramen main image. You'll find that in your download folder. You may have to resize it, or just go into the InDesign document that I'm sharing with you and just grab this image for reference point in terms of the size. Now I'm going to grab a guide and just snap it to the right hand side of that image, and I'll grab another guide and make it somewhere in between like so. And so I just want to add the content to the right hand side, but I want to add a little bit of separation between the content. You don't want it to be too close to the image. I have all the text here, which you'll also find in the download folder. I'm just going to paste it onto the page. There are other ways that you can bring this in. So if it's a text document, which I have and I'm referencing on my other screen, you could just copy and paste each item in, or you can go up to File, Place, and then place that text document in. So it's totally up to you. It's personal preference on how you like to operate. The one thing I'm going to do though is I want the title here to be on its own. So I'm just going to create another text frame. And I have some paragraph styles in my CC libraries here. So just kind of reference what I'm doing here in terms of the styles that I'm using. Or again, you can grab them out of the InDesign document that I'm going to be sharing with you. Okay, so I have a style here called page header. So that's the name of the recipe that's being featured. So this is for vegan ramen. And you notice that when I click it in my CC libraries, it automatically saves in the paragraph styles, which is convenient. So I can go ahead and delete that. And this is getting a 4 out of 5 review by the people that have made it or tried it. And so I have maybe, what's this, rating text. Number text is good. See how that looks, yep. And then in my assets CC libraries here, I have a gold star icon. Now this is a vector, so I can go in, if I zoom in, I can actually go ahead and change the color of this if I wanted to. If you're bringing it in as an image, as a PNG, you won't be able to do that. So you'll find the vector version of this in your folder as well. And I want to make 5 copies, so I'm just going to hold my Option key on Mac. That's Alt on Windows, and make 4 more copies. Now this is a 4.5 out of 5. So I'll show you a quick way of how you can split this star is by using the scissors tool. In your tools panel, click that. Create a cut at the top, a cut at the bottom, and you can see that that star is now in half. It's actually 2 pieces. So you can make it black and then maybe change it to 10% tint. And then you get a cool half star rating there, okay? Now I want to bring this a little bit closer, something like that. And we can move on now. I can get rid of this. Perfect, so this will be 45 minutes. Again, these are all on their own. So instead of drawing out 3. I'll just make 2 other copies. Quick way of making copies is always use your Alt or Option and then just drag another copy of it. And I got 10 ingredients in this. Perfect. And I have a style for these as well. So I'm going to select that, and again, that will be rating text. I'm just going to select the minutes portion of this and cut it. And again, I just want to make it. I want to make it on its own. I want to make it on its own text frame there. So I'll put that in. Okay, so the number here is actually number text. So we want that to be bigger again. So this takes 45 minutes to make. And so this will be number. So this will be 400 calories. And the good thing about this is once I've done it once, I can go ahead and copy it and then just replace it with the new text. So you're not doing this again. Perfect. Now I can make sure that these are all lined up properly. So what I'll do here is use my alignment tools to align them. Make sure that you're aligned to the selection. Select 400 calories and align those left edges. Do the same for the last one. I just want to make sure that all these text frames are all nice and snug to the text. It just makes it easier when you're aligning things as well. Perfect, so I'm going to make sure that 45, 410 are also, those are all aligned as well, but I want to make sure that these are all distributed properly. So I'm going to group them. So select 45 and minutes, group, and group. So group is just Command or Control G, select all 3, and then you want to distribute the horizontal centers. Now that didn't work too well, so I'm just going to kind of eyeball it myself because some of the boxes are longer than the others. And then, of course, just snap it to the left side edge that we've created there of that guide. And then use your judgment to see how that looks. Maybe we can bring this a little bit up a bit. I'm also going to create a guide. Let me move this down because don't forget we have to add a video. So I'm just going to make this about maybe right there. We can always alter, maybe move it up just a bit. Perfect. This way we can snap all this to the top. Perfect. Now let's add the actual ingredients. So we have a recipe lead-in as well. So if I select all of this, let's make that its own as well. Just make sure you paste it in another frame. And how about we create another guide here? So I'm going to bring it right to the right side margin, hold my Shift key and hit my left arrow key 4 times. Make sure you have that guide. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. And then let's just create another guide here and do 1, 2, 3, something like that. So this secondary guide that we created here, this one to the far right, that's where the video will snap. So we want the video to cover the top portion of this content, okay? But this text here, we can snap it to that edge there. Perfect, so I'm gonna select this, and this will actually, I want all of this to be in the same, because this is going in a container. So let's actually put this all back in here. Perfect. Now I don't want this to go all the way to the bottom because again, we're adding this to a scrolling frame, okay? So pick an area that might work, something like that. It's okay if you have some space, but down below, actually it's better because we're gonna be adding 2 arrows here. Because we're gonna be creating 3 pages, I'm gonna show you how to add some basic navigation from page to page. So let's start formatting this text. So this top part here, this is the lead-in, so it'll be that. And then for this, let's see if the paragraph style holds up. This is the bold header, so that's just a little header for the ingredients. And I'm gonna scroll down here. One thing I wanna do actually is I wanna create more space on my pasteboard. We're gonna need more space here. So I'm gonna go up to the InDesign dropdown, select preferences, and then go to guides and pasteboard. Now, by default for this document, it's 72 pixels. That's just not enough space for us to work with when we're adding the text to a container for the scrolling frame. So I'm gonna make it something like, let's do 1,000 pixels for now and see how that works. You see I have much more space? So it basically just adds much more separation between the pages, but that's okay. So I wanna bring this down. We may have added too much space to the pasteboard, but that's okay. It won't matter for this. I'm gonna select the ingredients portion right to there, and we have ingredients list. So basically I added bullets for this. I'll show you how to do that before I add the paragraph style. For anyone new to InDesign, I'm just gonna do Command Z. Up here in your control panel, you can also find in your properties panel, there's a bulleted list option, so you can do that. And then if you go to your properties panel, you can adjust the indent of it. So if I hit up here, do you see I'm bringing in the bullets, and then I can hit up and bring everything together or go the other way, so it's snapped to there. So, but I've already created that, and I'm gonna go back to my CC libraries and go ahead and click that there. Okay, so let me just do basic paragraph and make sure that all the formatting is stripped because there may have been an override there. So I'm gonna select that again, and I'm gonna select ingredients list. I'm gonna select instructions. That's also the bold header. Now here, I wanna add a little bit more space, and because I don't wanna do a full return, let's go back to properties, and I wanna add some space after the paragraph. So let's do 6 is good. What did I have up here? That's 10. Yeah, 6 is good. All right, and then let's just go ahead and select the rest of the text. And in my CC libraries, this is the instructions list. So basically it's the same thing, but it's numbers. And for whatever reason, it's not, let's see if I can, maybe I'll do that over to show you. Let's do basic paragraphs, and let's do the numbers list. There's the numbers. And let's see if I can click that. That's odd. Let me just do that again. So that is Filson Pro Book Italic 10. All right, I'll show you from scratch then. So let's click on that there. And so I'm using Filson Pro, which is an Adobe font, and that's Book Italic, and it was 10 point. And you can see the numbers are there now as well. So if I go to my properties panel, and let's bring that, no, let's leave that as is. Now let's bring it to 16, and then this to 16 as well. Something like that. Let me just see what I have here so I can remain consistent. So it's 12 and 12. So let's select this, and this will be 12. Let's go to minus 12 there, and then bring that to 12 as well. And it aligns with that as well. So here, I'm going to click on my selection tool, and I want to bring this up. A good place would be here, perhaps. So think of this is where if I'm opening this as a first-time viewer or user, that's where the scrolling frame would end or start. So the user would have to scroll to read the rest, okay? So maybe I'll go to here. Let's go to about 8 ounces, but you wanna make sure that you find a clean break. So what I'm gonna do is actually grab my rectangle frame tool, so click that, and then create a frame that surrounds the text of the recipe. So maybe using that as a guide for now. We do want to leave a little bit of space on the right hand side because you're going to have a scroll. I'm going to bring this into the right just a bit. And what I want is to have this outer container to be on that guide, okay? Now we can bring this in just something like that. So this space that I have here between this text frame and the container is perfect because that'll be plenty of space for the scroll indicator. You'll see what I mean in just a sec. So I'm gonna click on, I wanna click on the frame there, the text frame. It's behind this container, so if you wanna get to something quickly without having to move any text frames, hold your Command key on Mac, hold Control on Windows, and click until you get to the layer that you want, or the object you want, I should say, and then Command X, click on the container, right click, and paste into, okay? Now you can see here, I'll bring this up. It should be the other way around actually. So I want this text frame to go all the way to the bottom. So let's just double click. Now you can see we want this to come up, so it's at the 8 ounce. So you don't want a weird cutoff like that. I don't want to open this up and see the last recipe item be cut off like that, okay? So find a perfect break, something like that. And now we have to add the scroll to this, okay? So you'll have to go to the In5 Adobe extension, which I'll link in the description below, and you'll find in the blog portion of the tutorial. And just download the extension, and then you'll have to add the scrolling frame portion. And I'll add those instructions in the description as well as the blog. So I'm going to go to my In5 dropdown. Once you have your In5 extension installed, you'll see this dropdown here. I'm going to go to Interactive Widgets and then select Scrolling Frames. This window will appear. Okay, you have to make sure that you're clicked on the container portion, and as a default, it'll say Scroll Direction Off. Let's change that to vertical because we know it'll be a vertical scroll. Now, if I go to any of my interactive panels here and click the EPUB preview window, we can actually take a look and see how this looks. So that's good. That might be a little bit too much space. So you know what I'll do is I'll bring in that last recipe item. So let's just move it down. Something like that is just fine. And then what I'll do is I'll bring in a guide at the bottom, just so we know for the next page where to add the same content, okay? So I'm just going to move this off to the side and move this over here. And let's take a look now. If I click the EPUB preview window, I can scroll down and you could see that the recipe's there. Now that might be too close to that top part. Again, I'm just being a little picky here, so I might even bring this whole package down a bit. Okay, and then move this up a bit. And even move all this up just a bit, okay? And then you can adjust your guides as needed, and maybe bring this up a little bit and then snap that last guide down below. Perfect. Let's see the overview of this. Up top here, we'll add the play and close buttons. We'll do that soon. Again, I'm gonna move this back up just because we split the difference. And I'm gonna go to my CC libraries, and for now, I'm gonna bring in the 2 buttons that we'll be needing for this. So I'm gonna put one right there. Okay. And I'll put the one on the right-hand side. You can have this one all the way to the margin, that's fine. So this will be our previous button, which we won't need for page 1 because there is no previous, so we can get rid of that for now. This will be the next button going to the next page. And let's go ahead and bring in the play button. Again, these icons are in the download folder as well. I'm gonna zoom in here, and I wanna place it something like that for now. We'll adjust these in a sec, and I'll plop that in as well. And I wanna make sure that those are both aligned together. And I've already gone ahead and renamed these. So if I go to my layers panel here, you can see this one's called close button icon. So go ahead and do that. Once you've placed this on the page, if it's not named already, just go into your layers panel and rename the layers by clicking, and then you want to call the play button icon, and the close button icon. So what we'll do now is we'll bring in the video. So I'll show you how to do that next. And then I'll show you how to add controls to these buttons to open and close the video. We'll do that next. For this next part, you're gonna need the media panel, which you can access by going to Window, Interactive, and Media. And so we're gonna bring in the first video. Now just know that there's 3 ways of bringing in videos. You can just simply drag it from your desktop to the layout. You can go up to File, Place, and bring it in much like you would any other content or story or text. Or you can do it through the media panel. So if you go into the bottom right hand corner, it says place video or audio file. I'm gonna click that, and I have 3 videos here which will be in the download folder for this lesson. And the one we want is ramen.mp4. Now I always suggest using MP4s because it'll work for web, whereas the .mov will still work, but some browsers may not support it. So just go ahead and hit open. You'll see this prompt down below. Interactive PDF may not support playback controls. That is correct. So if you're trying to do this for PDF, you may want to take another route, either publish online or the EPUB preview, the EPUB fixed layout option. So you can see in my cursor here, I have the video, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start it in the top left hand corner of the margin and guide, click and drag, and I want to drag it to that secondary guide that we created there. Now you'll see the video will pop in. I'm just going to double click the top handle here just to have that snug around the content. Hold my shift key while I'm dragging it up. Now you see I don't want this to be peeking out, so this is a good opportunity now. Let me just move that off to the left. I'm going to maybe just that last line here. Let's nudge this up so it's not showing. I want this video to cover that top portion when we open and close it. So I'm just going to close the universal scrolling frames for now, and there's the media panel. You can actually play it here. You do have a little preview. There are some other options in here that you can look after. We're not going to look at today. So you can have it play on page load, which we don't want to do, and play in a loop, which we also don't want to do. You can choose a cover or a thumbnail cover for the video if you have one already made, or you could just kind of skip through and then hit the refresh button here to set a different frame in the video as your cover. So I'm just going to leave it at the beginning, which is just fine for what we're doing today. The one thing I do want to do here is rename this. So it's okay if it's called ramen.mp4, but I'm going to call this, let's just call it ramen video. And I want this, I'm in my layers panel right now. I'm just going to tear it off so I can show you guys. So maybe I'll put it with the media window here. So I want the ramen video to be underneath. See, I just dragged it underneath the close button icon and the play button icon. I want the play button icon to be at the top, followed by the close button icon, followed by the ramen video. I'm going to click on the ramen video, and I'm going to open my animation panel, which again is also in Window, Interactive, Animation. You can see it's already named ramen video. The preset here will be zoom in 2D. Now the event right now is on page load, which we'll fix that in just a few moments. The duration here, I want it to be quick. When I click that play button to play the video or to show it, I want it to come in very quick with the animation, and then when we close it, we want it to reverse quickly as well. So 1 second is much too long for that video to come in. You'll notice if you leave it at 1 second, it's just gonna come in too slow. So 0.25 is a good duration for that. We just want it to play once. Everything else is fine, okay? So the only things you have to worry about is naming this setting a preset, and the event will leave like that for now, and then the duration is 0.25. Okay, let's go back to, we'll need another panel here. So let's go to Window, again, Interactive, and Buttons and Forms, which I already have here. Let's group it into this window as well. And so now I have Buttons and Forms, Animation, and Media, and Layers here. These are the primary 4 panels we'll need. So let me zoom in. I'm on the play button now. It's black, so it's blending in with that background, but you can see I have it selected. I'm going to change that to a button, and this will be called Play Video button. Okay. And the event, let's leave it on Release or Tap. The action is, we're going to be setting 3 actions to this, okay? For now, let's set the animation to it, okay? So the animation will play. You can see the animation is ramen video. That's the only animation we have set to this layout so far. And the option is to play. Let's go back to actions, and let's add another action to actually play the video, okay? So right now we're only having the animation play, but we also want the animation to play and the video actually play as well. So you can see that ramen video, and the option again is to play, okay? And there's one more I want to do here. So let's click Action, and we want Show Hide Buttons and Forms. And before we do that, let me click on this X for the close button. Let's convert that into a button. And this is Close Video button. Okay. And let's go ahead now and add the action of animation here. And so when we close this, we want to reverse that animation. Okay. So once we reverse it, the video disappears. So there's no reason for us to add a secondary action to stop the video, because the reverse action makes the video go away, okay? And so the secondary action here will also be Show Hide Buttons and Forms. So let me go back to the play button. There are our actions. For this visibility in the Show Hide Buttons and Forms, when I click that play button, I want it to disappear. So the visibility will be to hide, okay? That's the eyeball with the little slash through it. And so the video, the close video button, that will have that show, okay? Perfect. So let's click on the close button and do the same thing, but reverse. We'll reverse the actions. So the visibility will be to show the play button, the play video button. We want that to reappear, and we want to have the close button. We want that hidden, okay? So I just want to bring this back over, okay? And in my layers panel, I have close video button selected. I'm just gonna hold my shift key and also click the indicator here. And then just use your arrow keys, up arrow, left arrow, and find a good spot where it would make sense. So where I have it here is just fine. You don't want it too close to the top or left edge. Leave some space in between, okay? So something like that is good. Let's test this out and see how it looks. So I'm gonna click on the EPUB preview window. Actually, before we do that, let's click that again and go back to Show Hide Buttons and Forms. So let me click on the close button. I have to go back to layers. That's why the preview is important, right? You wanna make sure that you're doing this properly. I'm gonna click on the close button video, close video button, go back to Buttons and Forms, and we wanna hide this until it's triggered, okay? So we don't want to see that button, that close button, until we press the play button, okay? Let's click on the video here and go back to animation. And you noticed when I clicked the preview button, the video appeared. So we don't want it to appear once the page loads. So in the events, if you recall, we left on page load as an event only until we set the on release, so the button action. So I can go ahead and click that and uncheck on page load. So now the only event will happen is when we click that play button, will this video appear? Okay, I know that's a lot of steps, but if you use the preview and then go back and kind of manage it that way, let's have a look now. So there's the button, and you can see it's a little bit offset from the rest of the text, and that's okay because it's appearing inside the video. When I click it, there it is. Click to hide, click to show, click to hide. And you notice when I click to open, the video plays immediately, and then I'll close it, and you don't have to worry about stopping the video because the video is gone, okay? So let's go ahead and I'll show you how to do we'll do the same actions to the second page. I'll add the content and we'll go from there. All right, I've set up my second page. Let's go ahead and add the video and then the controls to open and close. So again, I'm in my media window here. Click on the place a video or audio file icon. This case, we want this one, teriyaki noodles, which should be pad thai. I'll rename that for you in the folder so it doesn't confuse you. I'm gonna click open, and there it is in my loaded cursor. Now I could click just to drop it in. It would come in really large and then you could scale it down. But again, I'm just gonna cover this area. Just make it large enough where it'll fit, and then you can adjust the box afterwards. So that's good. I'm gonna drop it in, and then I'm gonna go, actually that is not the right video. I'm gonna bring in the right one. It is this one, stir fry. I'm gonna click open, there it is. I'm gonna click that, drag, and let's snap it to that right hand guide there. And there's the video. Let's double click to make sure it fits. Do the same on the right hand and left hand side. I'm gonna make sure that video is snapped to the left hand side. Let's go on this side. Hold your shift command and make sure that it's also snapped to that guide there. Perfect. I can play this in the preview here. Just a person cooking a stir fry. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop that. And again, we want to add an animation of a 2D zoom. So click on the video. Make sure you're not clicked on the content within the video. Just click anywhere but that content grabber, and then go to the animation tab or the animation panel. And let's rename this. So this will be pad thai video. Again, that's for purposes of when you're setting up the buttons. It's just easier to work with. So I'm gonna bring that below both of the buttons. So again, we want the play button icon at the top, followed by close button icon, and then the pad thai video. So with the pad thai video, let's go to the animation tab. In the preset here, go ahead and choose zoom in 2D. Right now it's on page load, which is fine. The duration is 0.25. Hit enter. Everything else is fine for now. All right, let's go back to our layers. This is the easiest way to work, is just by working in the layers, just because there's too much to grab here. And you don't want to move the buttons around. It's easier if you just leave them as is. So click on the play button icon, go to go to the buttons and forms window and convert that to a button. And this will be called play video button 2, okay? Just so there's no confusion, because we have play video button 1 or play video button up top, just always add a number, is fine. The action here is animation, and that's to play the pad thai video, okay? And there's a secondary action of video, and that's to play the pad thai video. And there's a third action of show hide buttons and forms, and we'll set that up once we set up the other button. So go to your layers panel, click on close button icon, go to the buttons and forms, click button, and this is close video button 2, okay? And the action here is animation, and the option is not to play, it's to reverse. And let's add another action here of show hide buttons and forms. Let's click on the layers panel and then choose play button 2 So we're on the play button now. And for this, we want the play video button to be hidden. We want the close button to show. Let's go back to layers, click on the close video button 2, go to the buttons and forms. We want to show play video button 2. We want to hide close video button 2, but we also want to hide until triggered. In other words, we don't want that X icon to appear until we click the play button. As a last step, click on the video, go back to your animation, and go to the events and uncheck on page load. Okay, now you've set up your second video here. So let's go ahead and try that one out now. Play, close, play, close. I'm just gonna add the next. I'm gonna add one more of these arrows here, and I'll set it right to that edge here. So we have a previous, we haven't set these buttons yet. We'll do that and then we'll publish it online. I'm gonna set up that last page, and then we'll set up the basic navigations, and then we'll publish it online and see how it looks in a web browser. All right, I've gone ahead and set up the last page. I've added the video with the scrolling frame. I'll show you how it looks. I'm gonna open the EPUB preview window. There's the scrolling frame, and here's the video, open and close. Perfect, so that works. I'm gonna click to close that. I have 4 arrows in this layout, and I want to turn them into next and previous buttons just to set up some basic navigation. I'm gonna click on the first arrow on page 1 and go to buttons and forms. I'm gonna convert that to a button, and this will be called next page, or let's just call it next button. And the action will be go to next page. I'm gonna click and copy that, so Command C or Control C on Windows. Let's go to page 2. I'm gonna delete that. Shift Option Command V to copy it, and you can see that the action updates. So it's next button 2, and the action is the same. So it'll just go to that next page. Let's click on this previous arrow, or the one that's facing left. That'll be button, and this will be previous button. And the action is go to previous page. Let's copy that, Command C, go down to that last page. Let's delete this, Shift Option Command V, or go to Edit, Paste in Place. Perfect. So I can't view that in the EPUB preview window because it'll only show you one page at a time. So what I'll do is publish this online, and then we'll have a look at how it appears in a web browser. To publish online, click on the share button in the upper right hand corner, and then choose Publish Online. Give your project a name. Typically, it will be the same name as the document name or what the document is saved as. You can give a description. There are some advanced settings here that you can look after in terms of JPEG quality and resolution. I'm just going to go ahead, or you would go ahead and click Publish. I have one here that I've done previously. So here it is in the web browser, Vegan Ramen. Let's click Open, Close. Scrolling frame works fine. Let's click that next button. That takes me to the second page. Let's click the open and close video. You can see that they work. The videos are working properly. Scrolling frame, perfect. Next, there's the third one. Scrolling frame works. Open, close, and then the previous buttons also works, taking you back to the first page. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to create interactive recipe cards with pop-out videos using Adobe InDesign. Leave a like or comment below if you found this tutorial helpful, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with all my latest content. If you're interested in learning more about interactive design using Adobe InDesign, go ahead and check out these videos right up here. Until next time, take care and keep creating.